The devil's sight, my elder sister was born with a third eye. When she was delivered, there was a noticeable, yet not too large, fissure between her eyebrows, and inside it was a perfectly formed, complete eye. In our backward, isolated village at the time, such a child was deemed a demon. My parents thought so too. They wanted to drown her in the river, but the midwife stopped them. She warned that the child was too strange. If she died, she might bring disaster, so they couldn't just discard her. Left with no choice, my father kept her, but he treated her no better than an animal. As my sister grew, my parents discovered another terrifying truth. The pupil of her third eye and both her regular eyes were horizontal. Usually, human eyes have round pupils, and some animals have vertical pupils. Both can express emotions: joy, anger, sorrow. Only the eyes of a goat have horizontal pupils. This type of eye is emotionless, unchanging. It holds a deadly stillness, silently observing everything. In medieval times, goats were considered the embodiment of the devil. And now, my sister's eyes were no different from a goat's. She became, explicitly, a monster. Father couldn't bear it anymore. He and mother decided to have another child. That was me. After I was born, to avoid affecting the entire family's luck, father tried to sew up my sister's third eye. He failed. The stitched skin quickly became necrotic. The line in the sand when I was 13. After learning the full truth from my mother, I had a huge fight with my parents. She just has a birth defect. How can you treat her like an animal? I trembled, pointing and shouting at my father. Father, enraged, "You little brat. What do you know? No one has a third eye. And don't call her your sister. I don't consider her my daughter. You, layman, you are my son. She is not your sister. She is an animal." Father angrily grabbed a stick and swung it fiercely towards me. I squeezed my eyes shut, but the expected pain never came. I slowly opened my eyes and saw my sister shielding me, taking the blow from father. Blood trickled from her forehead, but she didn't take a single step back. She looked at my stunned form and said, "Little Min, don't be afraid. Hide behind me." It was the first time I had ever seen her stand up to father, and it was for me. Father stared, gripped the stick, and then slowly loosened his hold. Finally, he silently walked away. After that incident, things began to change. Father allowed her to sit and eat with us, no longer forbade me from talking to her, and relaxed many of the rules. I started bringing my school books home for her to read, and sharing what I learned. To my surprise, she was a very fast learner. I gave her all my textbooks, and she absorbed everything, gradually becoming incredibly smart. One time, father even called out her name. "Lakit, go bring the laundry in." Hearing those 2 words, I was stunned, and so was she. Father had always seen her as a demon, a monster, but this time, he called her by her name. In his heart, my sister was no longer an animal. Moreover, the fissure on her forehead began to close gradually. The third eye slowly disappeared. If you didn't look closely, her face was almost normal. Everything was moving in a positive direction. 3. The promise by the river time flew by. I was about to start high school. I scored well and got into a top provincial school, which required me to board. My mother and sister helped me pack. My sister reminded me of everything. "Have you prepared your school bag? And your clothes? Take a few extra pairs of shoes. Change them often when you exercise. Don't fight with anyone there." As I was leaving, father, who was smoking outside, finally spoke. "Son, the bus is coming. Hurry and pack up." I grabbed my luggage and left. High school studies were intense, but I thrived. In my first midterm exam, I ranked 3rd in the entire school. I also took up basketball and made many friends. One day, after basketball practice, I found a letter in my desk. Inside were pages filled with confessions about watching me from the court through spring and autumn. I quickly found out it was from Bisich Eksang, the daughter of a school board member. I was thrilled. I had to tell my sister when I went home. During my summer break, Primeta rushed. Omi, I showed my sister the love letter. She snatched the envelope, wanting to read it. I snatched it back, serious. Sister, this is a secret of the youth. You can't read it. She nodded, seeming to understand. I glanced at her forehead. The fissure was barely visible. Sister, I asked suddenly, are you truly not bothered by what happened in the past? She looked down. The past is over. Let it go. Then, she suggested, do you remember the little river at the edge of the village where we used to catch frogs? Let's go catch crabs. We haven't done that since you started high school. My eyes lit up, and I happily agreed. We spent an entire afternoon catching crabs. We sat by the river, and she talked to me about my future dreams. I told her I would get into a good university and take her to live in a big city. She listened, full of longing. Then I will wait for you to pass the university exam. A gentle breeze blew across the river, tousling our hair. By the river at dusk, the two siblings dreamed of a beautiful future. They believed life would surely be colorful and wonderful, but it was not to be so simple. This moment was the end of all the good things in my life. From here, a true nightmare began. For the final call a year later, I was in 12th grade, completely focused on the university entrance exam. I no longer played basketball or received love letters. I hadn't been home. The memory of the village and my sister began to fade, until one day I was pulled out of class by my homeroom teacher. Her face was grim. She handed me a phone. "Lei Min, your parents called." I answered. "Hello?" The voice on the other end was a complete stranger. "Police officer." "Hello, is this Lei Min?" "I am Officer Turnwee. I need to ask you a few questions. Do you know your sister, Lei Keet?" Well, my premonition grew stronger. "Yes, officer." "What happened to my sister?" There was a silence on the line. "Do you think your sister had suicidal tendencies?" My mind exploded. No way. She was getting happier. Another silence. Then, slowly, he spoke. "Yesterday afternoon at 4:32 p.m., we received a report. Someone saw a body in the river. We recovered the body. The victim had been submerged for at least 3 days. The body was bloated and disfigured. Andre Cogni. After ruling out several possibilities, we have essentially identified the victim. It is your sister, Lei Keet." Sound. A phone dropping to the floor. Because during the forensic examination, they discovered one thing. On the corpse's forehead, there was a fissure the size of an eye socket. My sister was dead, the one who shielded me, who listened to my lessons, who dreamed of a better future with me. Dead, she had just escaped one hell, only to silently step into another. Everything went dark. 5. The missing eye. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed. A few days later, I returned to the village. The police officers were there. Officer Turnwee spoke to me again. He said the case was likely suicide or accidental drowning. I was full of doubts. Why would she commit suicide when she was happily earning money? My father confessed that after I left, she went everywhere trying to earn money for my tuition. She tried everything, handing out flyers, washing dishes, working construction. But because of her horizontal pupils and a fissure, no one would hire her. In desperation, she found a tutor job. The family agreed to hire her despite her lack of education. She was making money. But then, one day, she went to tutor and never came back. The family she worked for said she left a week ago. The police said the suicide was due to gossip. The villagers suspected she was prostituting herself because she had no qualifications to tutor. Then, I went to the morgue to identify her. My once graceful sister was a heavily decomposed corpse. Her body was bloated. I forced myself to look at her forehead. The fissure that had been closing was now wide open. I looked again, closer. Inside the fissure, there was nothing. My sister's third eye was gone. I immediately called Officer Turnwee and asked if any organ was taken during the autopsy. He said no. This meant the eye was missing when the body was found. Someone had taken her eye. Her death was not suicide. It was more there, and the key lay in that missing eye. My only lead was the family she tutored. The BCH family. 6. The Tutor's Secret Eye. Decided to investigate. I accepted B.C. Chong's invitation to her house. At the funeral, she told me she was my sister's student. She had been severely ill, almost dying. Her parents had sought out a demon exorcist who claimed a demon was trying to consume her body. The exorcist needed to prepare something powerful to fight it. She recovered completely, but then my sister went missing, and the exorcists became less busy. B.C. Cheksang also told me a strange detail. One time, you woke up in pain and looked in the mirror. Guess what I saw? I saw a third eye growing on my forehead. She insisted it was a dream, a lingering effect from being taught by my sister. I didn't believe it. B.C. Chong's sudden recovery, my sister's disappearance and death, and the third eye she dreamed of. It was all too connected. I knew I had to go to the B.C. family house. I bought a small knife and some drugs on the black market. I was irrational, driven only by my sister's memory. At TBC family home, they were kind, welcoming. They spoke highly of Lekit, saying she was a good child, and offered me help for university. They showed genuine warmth. As we sat down for dinner, I looked at the extravagant meal. My hand instinctively reached for the bag in my pocket, clutching the drugs. I wavered. Was I about to drug a kind family based on my fantastical suspicion? Mother smiling. Dinner is ready, everyone. Come and eat. I sat at the table, looking at the feast. I knew what I had to do. Music swells to a high-tension climax and then abruptly cuts off. Conclusion and call to action. The horror doesn't stop here. Did Lei Min go through with his plan? Was the seemingly kind Bisich family hiding a terrifying secret? And what exactly did the exorcist do with my sister's third eye? If you want to know what happened next, and how the entire mystery of the missing eye was finally solved, you need to be here for the next part. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell so you do not miss the shocking conclusion.